Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Well, hello, it's Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. I'm going to apologize up front a little bit for the audio. I'm normally walking, so I'm not inside the car, so you don't hear the echo. But we got quite a few things going on. It's my son's 21st birthday, so I'm having to go pick up some stuff this morning before we got a couple of showings this afternoon, and then a nice dinner planned for him. Anyways, today I wanted to just chat with you real quick about the folks that bought their first home probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I would almost venture to say 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago. I got a call yesterday, and I was talking with a new customer. We just chatted. They did a 20-minute phone consultation, actually off of our podcast. They've been listening for a little bit, and asked me some questions about, hey, is now a good time to be a move-up buyer? What we call a move-up buyer. You know, they basically bought a little 3-bedroom house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They've owned it about 4 years. But their youngest is now starting in elementary school. He's went to kindergarten yesterday, and they would really, really, really prefer a different school district. Well, not district. I guess they're still wanting to be in Escambia County, but they wanted a different school. I explained to them, school choice. There were some other things they could do, but they wanted to move to a different area just because they had kind of fallen in love with it. Plus, his job moved him from over in Santa Rosa County down to the Navy base, down to NAS. So he was having quite a bit of commute as well. So they kind of had outgrown. They also added 2 more children since I have met them. So now they got 3 kids. So they had kind of outgrown the property. And they were asking, hey, we see interest rates are going up. They have an interest rate in the 3s. Is this really a good time to do that? And I said, absolutely it is. There's a couple of reasons why. So if you fit that category, I want you to really pay attention to that. There's a couple of reasons why. One, you probably have equity. If you bought 3 or 4 years ago, there's a good chance you have equity in the property. I never say always have equity. No, I don't always. And I never say that because, well, there's always that exception. But there's a really good chance that you have equity. As a matter of fact, year over year, you actually should have been up about 9% over the past year, and then up a little bit more previously. So let's say you bought a $100,000 house. It's very likely you could have a $120,000 or $130,000 property now. So that means you've got equity to put as a down payment towards a bigger home or in a better area, or what area you're wanting to move to as you're growing out of your current property with your needs changing. The other good reason is as you go to sell a property right now, that price point, that market is still the hottest in our area. We have a lot of first-time buyers that, just like you were 2, 3, 4 years ago, they're in that situation now, and they're wanting to get that new starter home. That price point, anywhere under 100 is still under 2 months worth of inventory. And for those of you who hadn't listened to the podcast, anything under 6 months considered a seller's market. Anything under 3 months inventory considered a hyper seller's market. Well, 0 to 100,000 is under 2 months worth of inventory, so it's definitely a hyper seller's market. And there's just a huge demand at that price point. So that we need to pay attention to, and that would be a reason to look at selling now. Plus, yes, interest rates have risen from the 3s, from 3, 4 years ago. They have risen from there, but they're not that bad yet. We're still in the 4s. We're still in the mid 4s. Once we get to the 5s and 6s, things change. And I know the 6s are coming soon. So once we get to the 5s and 6s, that's going to change quite a bit for you. So, real quick, like I said, this was going to be a quick one today. We need to take a look if you have outgrown your current property. You are in a driver's seat as far as the sales side right now. That might not always be the case. Matter of fact, I know it won't always be the case, but it might not be the case much longer. But as we speak right now, middle of August 2018, in our area, you're definitely in the driver's seat if it's $150,000 and under. You probably have some equity. which means you probably can take that equity. You're not going to have a taxable event as long as you've lived in the property for 2 years. More than likely, I'm not an accountant, please adjust CPA, let me get all the lawyer stuff out of the way. But you're probably not going to have a taxable event there. You're going to be able to move that money into a new home. So now you've got a nice down payment. And if you were paying PMI, private mortgage insurance, on your old home, you might not have to pay that on the new home, which means that you could still lower your payment every month. So if we can get a better house, keep the payment the same, or only raise it slightly, or maybe even lower it, and you've got more equity in the new house as well, why wouldn't you? Right now is a great time to do that. Again, as rates start to hit sixes, it's going to put a squeeze on all price points to and include that first-time homebuyer price point. So please listen to me when I'm telling you that now is a really good time to look at it. If you're even considerate, let's talk. I have had that conversation with about 3 people over the last few days. Yesterday's conversation, we're going to chat. I have a feeling they'll probably wind up selling a house and buying another one just because of what they're wanting to accomplish. I have had conversations where it didn't make sense. It just didn't. They just wanted something different. They just, there was no need for it. And that conversation we had was more of a difficult one because it was just a want, but financially it didn't make any sense for them. So at the bottom of every one of the show notes, there's always hey, if you want to schedule a free 20-minute phone consultation, click here. And you could click buyer or seller. It really doesn't matter because you may be both at that particular point. I would probably click seller to begin with. It just preps me for how we can chat a little better. But that's always a 20-minute phone consultation I always offer to everyone that's listening to this podcast. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you've not subscribed, to get the tips, trips, graphs, infographics, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com, hit subscribe. You're going to put your email list in. Yes, I will send you email lists when I have new episodes. Also ask you to get over to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. Imagine that. Get over to your player of choice, hit subscribe. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, believe it or not. Hit your player of choice, hit subscribe, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a nice comment. Not some of those jackass comments. Finally, I end the podcast the same way every time. I never ask you for any money for doing these, although it does cost me money to prepare them. I do ask that if I brought you value in this or any other episode, that you share it on social media. Have a great Tuesday.